Now, I've come to an agreement with Sam, and I'm calling him the Rig. So if you would join us on the stage, we've got the Rig, we've got Ewen, and we've got Kristen Porter. So Sam, of course, Jealous Craig, Christine Ewen, my agent team down in Bateman's Bay, and Kristen Porter, Oh No Legal. I'm going to leave you in the hands of Maria and Manos. Enjoy these pearls of wisdom, and I'll see you after.
Are we on? We can see the M&Ms are back on stage. So whoever's left standing will get the balance of them. But welcome, guys, and thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
And the panels have been exceptional the last 2 days. Who would agree? The panels have been amazing. And they're raw and real, and I think that's what we love about it. We want to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly. All three of you are special individuals, obviously two practicing real estate, substantial businesses, incredible leaders in your own right. And of course, Kristen, you're there as Oh No Legal to make sure that when the shit hits the fan, we've got someone to run to, can you please fix this challenge we have? But of course, most of the challenges can be fixed if we get the structure right from the very beginning. And this is the last 2 days, and as everyone knows, this is about all planning. This is about getting the structure right from the foundations from the beginning. But let's bring it over to the team. We'll start with Christine. Tell us about the Christine Ewen story and where it all began.
Oh gosh. Country girl, baby of 7, that comes from very blue collar stock, and got married to my first boyfriend and had my first child at 20, my second child at 21. Ultimately got to 30 and was broke, $800 in the bank, was never going to own a home. Someone offered me a job in real estate, had no interest, had never ever been into an open house. Borrowed some money to be able to go and do the training with the LJ Hooker network. Put my head down, bum up. First year won International Best New Talent. Never been on a plane before, and I had to go to Perth for the award. Did that for 6 years. Then I ended up going to Rain and Horn, a competitor in town, and was pretty much one of the top 10 agents in Australia for Rain and Horn for 8 years. And basically, then life got in the way of real estate for me. So lost my mum, my dad to cancer, my mum to dementia, nearly lost my son. And so what I did was I put my head down, bum up, because that's all I knew how to do, was just do real estate. Because sometimes I think we get into our comfort zone, that's where it is. So I put my head into real estate, and then one day it was just like Forrest Gump. And I was running and running and running and running and running and running. Lots of GCI, and I just stopped. And practically just shit the bed, really, and ruined my career and walked away and quit and did 9 months worth of travel in a camper trailer with my husband and my dog, and put myself back together and decided what was I going to do. And I sat on an inheritance of 150 grand. So my mum and dad's life, that was all there was. And I just thought, you know, I needed to do something that was going to be a great legacy. And I thought if I opened an agency and I used their money, I was never, ever going to fail, because I would never let them down. So I went to Facebook and I got my community behind me and said, I'm going to open an agency. Here you go, vote on what my logo should be, vote on this and vote on that. So they actually built my agency. So I built an agency through Facebook. And when I did my opening night, it was an open invitation, and it ended up being the biggest thing you've ever seen. It was just spilled out everywhere. There were just so many people invested in this business. All of a sudden, this girl that had been in the industry 18 years as a top performing agent goes out on her own, up against the big franchises, and I open a boutique agency, and I decide that my mum's favourite colour was pink. All my love hearts were going to be all my sold signs would be love hearts, and I'd send love to my mum and dad. And that's how I started my business. In 2022, won Real Estate Institute, top small agency in Australia. I started the agency with 3 girls. Now I've got 15 and I'm in a full female agency with pink chairs and the whole lot. And now I'm here. There you go. There's Christine Ewen.
And we have to talk about a sensational story, guys, and we have to talk about the numbers.
So the numbers in my first...
In your GCI, building your team and what you got up to.
Okay, so my GCI was 1.5 million as a principal, with my market share is 33%, and my business is now 4 agents, so I have pods, EBUs as you call them. So I have 4 pods. I have 200 property managements that have been grown organically. I have 90 holiday managements, and my GCI of my team is $4 million.
Yeah, big. Awesome.
And then Sam's going to he'll earn that in a week.
And I'm just going to go on to Sam. That's all right. Tell us the Sam story, and how did you build your empire to what it is today? And where did you start, obviously?
Christine's story's a bit more engaging than mine. Mine's a bit more real estate formulaic, so that was very nice, Christine. So I started in real estate in 2005. My first job was basically straight in the deep end as a sales agent. I had some experience in door-to-door sales before I started in real estate, so I kind of had a grounding and an understanding of what it took to sell. I knew how to present. I was selling Kirby vacuum cleaners, if anybody knows what they are. I've told the story a few times, but if you haven't heard it, it's a Kirby machine is this. It's like a home vacuum, shampoo, carpet. Duvalaki, it was $4,000, right, for the whole package. And so what used to happen, I didn't have my license at the time, so we used to meet in an office in Ascot Vale in Melbourne, and the team leaders used to drive us out into the burbs, like anywhere in Melbourne, and they used to drop us off in the morning with a vacuum cleaner, and we'd go around door knocking, door to door, and we'd have to offer. Well, the deal was if you let me present this product to you for half an hour, then I'll steam clean any room in your house for free, right? And so I met a lot of really interesting characters, and I had a lot of crazy experiences in that time as a 17, 18-year-old pretty loose kid myself. It was an eye-opening experience into the world of sales, loads of rejection, and then in the end, at the end of the day, they used to pick us up, so you really had no choice but to sell. Like, you just had to, like, we were in the middle of nowhere with this machine, and I did really well. I was one of the best agents, salespeople in Australia and New Zealand very quickly, and I thought, there's just got to be a better way to do this, like to earn money. This is a pretty shitty way to do it. I could be selling something better. What could I be selling that's better than a vacuum cleaner? So I thought I'd elevate to the house, and so that was my entry into real estate. And then I kind of hit the ground running when I started in real estate in 2005. When you're thrown in the deep end as a young agent, which a lot of you may have been when you started, you're kind of just given a desk and a phone and a stack of old buyer sheets or orphan data, and go for your life. And that was my life at that time, running through the stock list, running through the old buyer sheets, and just trying to connect dots and do deals and sell the homes that the other agents had listed in our office because I didn't have any listings. So sold about 57 odd homes in that first year, which kind of elevated me in the eyes of the team, and the attention was on me. And so soon enough, I got the golden handcuffs given to me by the boss, and he sold me a 10% share in the business at that time. So that 10% share led me to opening my own office. So when I was 25, I opened up the office in Northcote that we have now, and I had a 10% share in that business. We were a team of 7 real estate at that time between Carlton office and Northcote, and then slowly but surely. I bought a little bit more equity, and I bought a little bit more equity, and then I kind of had enough of the guy who was running it, and I bought him out. And my business partner Rob and I then have kind of been on a progressive journey to merge, acquire, grow our business, and we've had a really strong vision to run real estate to really, I suppose, get to best practice in our industry in whatever way we could, and we needed leverage and size and team. So we've just been on this growth journey since then, and now our team is 100 people. We have 2,500 properties under management. We sell about 1,000 homes a year. I think we did 1.5 billion in sales last year, and my role within that now is a listing and selling principal. That's my focus. So I've got a board that runs the business, and Rob, my business partner, is off the tools and now administering the operations of the business, and my focus is listing and selling, which is what I love doing, and my team's there.
Yeah.
So that's
well
our...
done,
Paula
team.
spoke yesterday. You may have seen her. She's my business partner in the team.
I love it. And that was the next question. Like, how do you balance listing and selling and being a principal and running the business and doing everything else? But you've got the right people in the right places. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
It's about structure. My life is structured to allow for the performance and the outcomes that I want. I mean, I can't give 110% to management of the business. It would fall apart. It's not my forte. I don't love it. I earn more money listing and selling real estate than I do out of dividends in the business. So
I think people need to rehear that.
Yeah.
I think they need to.
Yeah. Well, that's the key for me. Is you're well recognised in our market. We perform well. Our team does 160 to 200 odd deals a year, and that's a profitable business within the business in itself. So for me to walk away from that to run the business doesn't make a lot of sense on a personal level, but at the same time we've got this really strong appetite to be Australia's best real estate practice, and how do we get there, and we need structure to do that. So my business partner Robbie had kind of fallen out of love with real estate hustle.
Yep.
And so he's been kind of anointed as the CEO of the group, and we've got a board, we've got a chairman on the board that manages that, and so it's just about structure and people in the right places doing the right things.
Yeah.
The biggest question I get from directors is, how do I get off the tools? And and we're going to talk to Christine about that. Christine, if you want to just share that, because you're doing the opposite now, so it's quite interesting to sort of see these two landscapes.
With the growth of the business, so being a top agent and having a PA and a buyer's agent, and trying to run the company, I just got to a point where I just felt that I was probably a 5 in all areas of my life, as far as a wife and a mother and a business owner, and I don't have a partner. So, I've got a husband, but a partner in my business, and he has nothing to do with the business at all. I don't even talk about the company when I go home. So I was in a position where, how do I get off the tools and be able to run the business, or I need to hire somebody to come in and do that for me. So I actually organised that. So I ended up having 4 really good agents. The top 3 agents in the Batemans Bay Greater region live in my office. And that was some by design, but a little bit by playing, building the field, and the players came. So at some stage I had to give up control and actually let go of ego. And that's not a slight at you, Sam, because I tell you, if I was as pretty as you, I'd be pretty egoic as well. But the thing is that I then thought, rightio, what I'll do is I'll give away my database, which is terrifying. 15 months ago, I decided that when a client comes in and wants Christine Ewen, I go out and I introduce them to the person that I think suits them the best in my company and in my agency. And then I just touch base, a bit like a surgeon. I just pop in and say, how'd that go? Was it all right? And it worked out, Manos, you're the numbers guy. And you actually made me go back and look at how much did this cost me. So 1.5 million of GCIR retained 1.2 million of it. I didn't, my company did. So then I worked it out at 300,000. By the time you pay company tax, by the time I paid myself a dividend, it works out at 150 grand. How much does it cost for me to have a buyer's agent and a PA? It cost me nothing to actually get off the tools. And the thing is now I don't work Saturdays, and sometimes when I'm by the pool, I Snapchat my girls and are just like, love myself.
I think the point is that there's not right or wrong, is it?
100%.
Like, I think Sam said it perfectly before. It's not you don't believe it's your strength. You don't want to run the team. You keep listing and selling because that's what you love to do, and you're ready to bring other leaders within your office and bring women. Tell us why all women. Is that a story behind that?
I just have never met a man that I wanted to hire, probably. Now, that may be the safest answer that I can. No, it was a little bit strategic of me, but I think that when you get to a certain point where you have women, and because I'd work with women, and because predominantly my competitors were men, it was a point of difference. And because I'd worked for men, I decided that I wanted to build a company that I wanted to work for. And I really love hanging out with a bunch of girls. So I thought that was really good. When you get to around about 8 to 10 women, boys stop at blowing. Because they're just like, hell no. And I got in there and everybody asked me, oh my God, how do you manage 15 women? It must be the bitchiest office. And I just think, there's part of me that's politically correct that thinks, would you ask that if it was 15 men? But then the other part of me is like, I tell you, the best part about working with a tribe of women is that we get shit done, but we do talk about it to death. We really do. But I've solved that with just margaritas on a Friday at 4 o'clock.
I love it. That's beautiful. Can I just say, as Maria mentioned, there's never a one-size-fits-all, but if you remember our presentation yesterday, we talked about set the stage, and the number one thing was find out what your why is, because everything falls into place when you truly know what you want. And it changes through your life. When you're young, I don't know about you guys, I pay off the mortgage, I want money, I'll be on the tools, making lots and lots of money, and then as you mature, you get more stable and your priorities change. So it's never a straight line in essence, and I think find out what you want out of your business and then reverse engineer it for your point in time in your life. Kristen, the stuff that no one wants to really talk about, and we mentioned about... But we need to.
We need to know it,
right?
Yeah.
Because, obviously the challenges that we have in business is making sure that the fundamentals are right, structures, succession planning, all those sorts of things, and you've got to start with the end in mind, as I said. First of all, give us the Kristen Porter story, and then we can get into those questions.
I'm a country girl too. I'm originally from Armidale, New South Wales. Third generation real estate. My grandfather started our family agency and it ran for 51 years. My first job was letterbox drops as an 8-year-old, and I got paid in McDonald's thick shakes until I realised there was something called money. I think I got paid $5 to print 500, fold them, deliver them. So it was really, really great environment to grow up in a real estate family. I then went to uni and did my marketing and law degree, and wasn't sure kind of which way I'd go with that. I haven't mentioned this one actually. In 2008, had some medical problems, and I was told that I would never work again. And I sat on the couch for about a year. I remember I had a moment. I was just sitting on the couch. I think I was watching Supernatural. I had chips all over me. I was quite, in a little hole. And I went, this can't be it. I've just worked so hard. This can't be life. So I crawled my way out of that hole with a lot of help and got back to full-time employment, which was fantastic, and got into the legal industry. Started as a generalist, doing conveyancing and wills and all sorts of things up in Armidale. And then came to Canberra. I'm in Canberra now. And did ended up in corporate commercial land, working for a heap of different industries. I then wanted to go in-house and work inside a business as a lawyer, so I could really make a difference, do a bit more of the commercial side of things. So I ended up, don't know if you know of the Dexar Group, they owned Lang & Simmons, Peter Blackshaw Real Estate, Independent Property Group, and a few other, they're a house of brands. And really, really loved helping them. They decided to refocus back just to the Canberra property market, and I helped them divest of most of their assets. So they could really focus on the one market. And at that point, I thought, okay, I'd build a couple of legal bots on the side as a bit of fun. And I thought, I had an incorporated legal practice sitting there, so I thought, okay, I'm going to start my own business. And my coach at the time really encouraged me to niche down and get very specific. What is it you love? Who do you love to help? And real estate was just a natural fit given my background and also just my family. And more recently, I've just opened an agency with my sister in Brisbane. I'm in charge of marketing and the lead generation, so it's really great hearing Imi, wherever she is. I learned a lot, thank you. So yeah, wear a couple of different hats, like to keep things interesting.
That's awesome. That's all amazing, thank you. So, what's the number one thing that you're hearing from principals and what they're after? Obviously, the big talk is retaining of great talent and and it doesn't have to be just sales agents. What are you seeing in that space, and what are the good things that you're seeing and some of the go-wrongs as well? Yeah,
I think that talent attraction and retention, real estate in law, it's everywhere at the moment, and people are trying to get creative. The golden handcuffs, like you just mentioned, is coming up more and more, especially as agents are also starting to do their succession planning, like principals. I don't know if you saw the Macquarie benchmarking report about how many principals are looking to do succession or exit planning in the next couple of years. And so with the retention side, using those golden handcuffs, for want of a better term.
And we do need a better term than the golden handcuff, because it's the wrong approach. It's the wrong mentality to have. Let's lock people in and so forth, because it's not about that. It's actually, to me as a leader, it's about I think we're amplifiers of other leaders. So those people that are in the positions that the teams are large, we're amplifiers of other leaders. And what we want to do is actually impart our knowledge to the young ones, and the newbies, so they don't make the same mistakes as what we do. So we can save them the pain and the grief and the challenges that you go to. So we need to have a mindset. That's why we want to encourage. And of course, when we build an empire, it's a baby. It becomes personal. Yes, it's a brand, it's a logo and all that, but it is a living organism in essence with a whole bunch of people. And you want to see that legacy. I don't know, that's how I feel about it. But yeah, I think let's start a movement and move away from golden handcuffs, but doing it for the right reasons.
I think that's so old-fashioned,
Yeah.
and we kept saying, I think if you look at it from the positive side of things, because we've just done that, we've gone into partnership with a handful of people that have been with us for a very long time in agency, and you would never bring someone in to share that journey with you if you don't absolutely trust them, love them, want to work with them, and share the journey with them. And there's nothing more fun than sharing the journey. You can't do it on your own, so I think it's a brilliant thing to do. But yeah, definitely don't agree with the term. But I think in some cases it was that, but it's the wrong reason to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what
And you've got a fantastic term for that, haven't you, Kristen?
The engaged before married approach. So where I see it do go wrong, and I think maybe this is where the old terminology comes from, is that place of fear. You're scared that person's going to leave, like I'm not going to be able to replace them. Whereas this is more a succession plan, or this is more strategic. It's because you can identify this person is going to be a really good business owner and leader. And we have this, the engaged before married approach, because, I mean, most of us probably wouldn't marry someone after maybe 1 or 2 coffees. We want to work with them, get to know them, maybe live with them, try them out a bit. And so even if you're bringing someone up to put the golden handcuffs on, and you know them and you have worked with them, which is fantastic, but you've never worked with them side by side as business owners. So having an engaged before married approach, where I'm going to treat you like my business partner, we're going to make decisions, and then and it mightn't be KPI based. Once you help me get the rent roll to 1,000 managements, or after a year, having some KPIs in place before you go and issue shares, because I've had a client recently that they used it as the retention model, but they also used it as an attraction model to bring a stranger in. They knew them in the marketplace, and it went really well for the person coming through, and it was a disaster for the stranger that came in. And so we were really grateful that we'd done Engage Before Marriage for this third person coming in, because otherwise we would have had to try to get them out, buy them out, and the business had gone up in value in that time. So not only buy them out, but buy them out at more than what they came in for, which would have been a really bitter pill to swallow. So let's encourage you, if you are looking at any of those approaches, think, Engage Before Married. How can we do this before I lock you in?
And is that like a heads of agreement? Is that like is as simple as?
As simple as a heads of agreement or a term sheet, a couple of pages long, can be some dot points, as long as you're really clear on the intention and how you're going to calculate the buy-in price. Because of course they're going to want to know how much can I afford it, that sort of thing. So just having those really clear rules in place, even if it is some dot points, definitely go a long way.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Awesome. And yeah.
Okay, so here we go again. I wanted to ask Sam actually, so have you bought partners? So you had the experience of having the golden handcuffs, and you bought that original honour out. How are you engaging with your team now, and have you bought partners in, and how have you done it?
Yeah, good question. Yes, we have. And I think early on we were probably victim, or guilty rather, of bringing people on through fear of losing them, and through wanting to retain good talent and to look attractive in the marketplace. And it was, I can honestly say, it was definitely coming from a place of concern and worry rather than confidence and optimism. But we have shifted our view on that now. We have got, like Paula, who spoke yesterday, she's now a partner in our business. There's a handful of, I think we have 11 shareholders in the business, and 3 directors. And so the shareholding is split across a broad group over our 3 offices, including property management staff. Our CFO is a partner in the business. Our head of PM is a partner in the business on both sides, sales and PM. And all of our partners are partners on both sides of the business, sales and property management, not just one silo. Our perspective, however, is shifting from conscripts to volunteers, because we really want people to step up to the plate and embrace the leadership role. We are now confident enough that our business is big enough and ugly enough that we can, if somebody left, it wouldn't matter. The business is bigger than the individual, sum of its parts. And it wasn't always like that. That's what drives you to kind of lock people in so that you've got that stability. And it's now at a point where, no, it's stable and we need to bring people on who are actually going to add value, who want to be there. And we were, as recently as, last week, I was up in Sydney at a quarterly catch-up with our Dr. Fred Gross. My peer partner Shula's here. Hi, Shula. And Robbie and I were discussing what does the future of our shareholding offering look like. And, we've always wanted to offer down shares to bring people in, but now we're probably a little more shifting our focus to just building a phenomenal business that people just want to be around, and they stay because the culture, the energy, the trajectory, the vision is so good that why would you want to go anywhere else? And that in itself is the attraction. And if we turn our attention to the things that, giving people pathways, giving them lifestyle, income, training, all of the things that are so hard to get anywhere else. We're best on planet in that delivery of service to our agents, and then we don't need to offer up shares just to lock them in.
Yeah, love it. That's awesome. And you talk about culture, but what does culture do you? What are your values? Do you have that written down, or is it just your gut feel? Because you don't need to sometimes write them down.
I think it's a really loose term. Like we asked our team not long ago, how do you rate the culture in the business? You had a degree of answers that vary based on their individual experiences. And every time I've sat in a boardroom, in a planning day, in a meeting, and come up with the vision, the values, the culture, like it's up for 5 minutes and then nobody looks at it again. It's just like, it just feels like bullshit, to be honest. And I think the reality is that culture is the way you act and you feel, and the engagement of the team. And if we're growing and we're happy and we care for each other, and as a leader, I don't walk past a piece of paper on the floor in the office and expect somebody else is going to pick it up. That's culture. Like I don't dictate to my team to do things that I haven't done before. I don't ask things of them from a participation point of view or an engagement point of view that I'm not prepared to do myself at any level. And I think that's what culture is for me. An engaged team that where everyone's all in and rowing in the same direction, and you've got good culture.
Yeah. Should we ask Christine the same question?
Uh-huh.
I just want to say what he said. I was just there, I was just like, I just want to go and work with Sam. I did take my whole team to Vanuatu last week.
I've done that.
Did you hear that, guys? Look at we've got the team over there.
I did, and I took their husbands as well. So there we go. I'm a little competitive. Sorry about that. My culture has completely been built about the fact that I wanted to, when I opened the agency, I thought I just wanted to have a very small boutique experience where everyone got to hang out with me. And I chose that if I was going to have people work with me, and you spend so much time, you better like them. So there is that real friendship-based stuff that happens. Hate the term where we're all family. I don't really love all that, but there's still this, so my culture is based upon my past experiences. That is that I never liked that divide and conquer mentality that there was 20 years ago in this industry, where you were set, you were pitted up against another agent in your office, you were told to outperform them, and your boss would tell you something in confidence and bag one of the other agents. And so that was one thing that was always very, very important to me. You come to me and you bitch about one of your colleagues, I will call that colleague in and I will tell them what you just said. And you better work that out, because I have no time for bitches in this industry. Sure, if you want to do that about your competitor, knock yourself out, but not in our umbrella. So that's one of the things. The other thing is that we are all women, so there's lots of support around motherhood, lots of flexibility about working hours, lots of people that have got other agendas that they need to go and do. I'm also into them growing, having their own direction. If a property manager comes to me and wants to go into a PA space, then that's something that I would look at. I don't just say, this is your box. That's all that you are allowed to do. And I put goals in place, so there's planning days. Biggest thing, probably, though, I would think for mine is consensus. So I will often go to my team and ask them. So, for instance, yesterday I was in the cab the other day, and I just booked Yelena Dokic for International Women's Day. It's one of my big brands. So what I do is that for 5 years in Bateman's Bay, I've bought Sam Bloom, Taryn Brumfitt. Last year it was, what was the chick's name, Jem? Yana Pittman was this year. And so people in Bateman's Bay, you've got to get, they've never ever have the opportunity to see speakers like this. So that's one of the things that I do. But the culture around that is that I'll even say to my girls, who are we going to have? I don't make those decisions. One of the other things is when hiring, I have the cheekiest thing with hiring, and that is that I was in Hamilton Island and I made my girls choose the new receptionist. I also get them to go on panels and hire, and I sit just like a huntsman in the corner and just watch them do the interview process. And there's a reason for this. And they think it's because, Chris is just way too busy and important. It's not. It's because, you know what, if I choose someone, I've got 15 girls telling me the reason why I got it wrong. When they choose, they will bury bodies to make sure they got it right.
That's
So
so
let
true.
them hire.
We could really be here up there. One last question, because we really could be here up for a whole day, I reckon. And I'm going to leave the last question to Kristen. We've only got a couple of minutes left. Lots of talk about succession planning and so forth, and what do business owners need to be aware of? And do you have a checklist of sorts?
Yes, I've got lots of checklists and free resources on our website. I think we sent you we've got a succession and exit planning checklist to help you kind of with those really big questions and challenges. I think it's going to be interesting the next couple of years, because if the data in the Macquarie benchmarking report is correct, we're going to see a lot of movement in the market, and so it's going to be interesting then to see what is that going to do to multiples and values of rent rolls if a heap of them hit the market at the same time, just like property.
Supply and demand.
Pardon?
Supply and demand.
There's supply and demand, but of course there's always, like Menos talked about being Alan Bond ready in his previous presentation, there's a lot of things you can be doing to renovate your agency, essentially, to make it super attractive to buyers. So not only get the price up, but make it a really attractive buy. So if that does happen, that there is a lot on the market, yours is going to stand out and it's going to shine, and it'll be an attraction business that someone actually wants to buy. And like you said, Manos, by the time you get it to that point, you might go, actually, I quite like this, I want to keep it now.
Yeah, it is really true. And I do believe data, and we haven't had time to talk about data, that's where the new space is, and there's been lots of talk, but what does it actually look like? And I believe there'll be multiples being paid on databases. There's no question if you can demonstrate return on investment, right? And there's lots of people talking about the models out there, but we can continue that in the virtual sessions. Can we give it up for the team, guys?